bless you.
Good morning and welcome to our Power Breakfast interview this Friday morning. As is tradition on Fridays, we normally try to go easy and outside politics. And today we want to focus on the girl child. It's always been an issue how we look after our girls, our children who are girls, as they go to school and after, and what is happening to them. And a lot of the problems revolve around their education. Now, many girls, of course, going to high school, getting admission, don't have school fees because they come from poor families. And schools are trying solutions to address this problem. This morning, we have in our studio the principal of one of Kenya's top schools, the Kenya High Girls School, Mrs. Rosemary Saina, joined by Mrs. Masese, Rebecca Masese, the chair of the board of governors of the same school. And they're here because we're talking about an initiative they have started at the launching, and they'll tell us about it, to empower and educate the girl child. So, karibuni to the studio this morning.
Thank you. And
Madam, you're not a regular visitor to TV stations where we grill people.
I've been to one or two, but this is my first year.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here.
But it's great to have you. So, you are setting up an endowment fund for educating girls coming to Kenya High. Why do I confuse the two schools? I think they're competitors, that's why. Kenya High. So tell us about it and why.
Yes, thank you very much. For a while now, or for several years now, we find that most of the students we admit to the school come from very, very challenging backgrounds. As you know, ours is a national school, and the children are admitted from all parts of Kenya, basically on merit and in the quota system. So the financial status, or whether they are able to pay or not, does not come in. And as you are aware, a free primary and a free secondary education has been on now full circle. The first students are now in Form 4. So when they joined us at Form 1, it was really a very, very difficult time for us, because majority of the students had come from public schools, and therefore most of the parents were not in a position to meet their school fees obligation. So, but the numbers were not so overwhelming, and we were still able to contain the situation by appealing to our parents, the current parents in the school, the board members, the PTA members, to chip in and sustain them. But as we moved to Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, it became a little bit difficult, and we found ourselves with some board members paying up to 3, 4, 5 children in the school, and we thought this may not be sustainable. So this idea of starting an endowment fund to sustain them came in. We actually launched in December, the 6th of December last year.
Right.
And so we have just been working on programs to try and raise funds. In April this year, we had a fundraising work, and we had quite a good response. But what we want to do is to build, quite a big fund that when we invest the capital, we are able to educate the children with the interest. And the idea, and our idea for a long time, is that any girl who is admitted to Kenya High on merit should not drop out on account of poverty. That they should be able to go through school.
If we look at the figures, roughly, in one admission like happened this year to Form 1, how many children are unable to pay school fees?
Wow, this year is about 50%.
50%?
50%, and another maybe 20% who can pay partially.
So, well, then let's look back at defaulters. I mean, the government recently waived fee arrears for students who had left whose certificates you are detaining. How many were you affected? How many had you detained?
Luckily for us, like I said earlier, we have managed to attach children to particular individuals.
Yes.
So we were left with very few. In fact, our figure was about 3.3 3.3 million
Yes.
outstanding,
Yes.
because the rest had been paid either by board members, PTA members, well-wishers.
Okay.
We also have quite a number of foundations who have come in to support. So they are taking in also quite a large number of students.
Yes. We'll come to Mrs. Rebecca Masese, as the chair of the board. This initiative, obviously, before the endowment was set up, had serious consideration of the board. Was this the general resolution of parents, or the board of its own realized the school was having challenges? So let's start something.
Okay. It's not a new thing. This was a private school initially. It was not a public school. And the girls who came initially to Kenya High School, actually most of them were not able to pay school fees. They came there on merit. And the county council then used to sponsor the girls into the school, apart from a few parents who could afford. And that has been an ongoing exercise. And the teachers also, some of the teachers used to sponsor the kids. I remember some teachers used to give their retirement money
Yes.
to educate these girls. And also the parents, the PTA came in later, but PTA plays a very important role, because if you have a daughter in Kenya High School and when you come you find that there is a needy child, you help. We must appreciate the parents, the well-able to do parents. They have really helped a long way.
What is the difference between an endowment fund and a bursary fund? Why are you calling it endowment? Looks to me as it's a bursary fund you are raising.
No, no, no. We have been having a needy fund for the students. And the endowment fund is a fund which is continuous and more structured than these haphazard kind of arrangements that I give money, tomorrow I don't give. This is a continuous.
So what will you do with the money? When you raise it, what do you do to make it endowment? What do you do with it?
We'll
Maybe you can tell us.
We have set up a trust fund and a trust board. So with rules and conditions of identification of the needy students. Because you know also in Kenya we have a problem. Even those who are not needy, if they feel that there is a way you can get away with anything, they will do. So there are rules and conditions which have already been set up. We have already opened a bank account, and the idea of the trust fund committee is once these monies are raised, if we get a significant amount, it is going to be invested, and the interest is what will be used continuously to sustain all the needy children who are admitted in the school.
Teachers are not investment experts. So who will make that decision? Where
exactly.
You might want buy some.
Yes, exactly. That was why the trust fund was set up with experts. In the committee, we have both members of the board and members of the PTA, and they were choosing that committee on the basis of who has what expertise. And an endowment fund has rules and regulations. No, it doesn't matter whether it's a school endowment fund or whatever endowment fund. And this committee will ensure that the rules set are followed and the deserving will benefit.
The tradition normally is that, well, the endowment fund or the bursaries can go out to those who can't afford. But in some cases, a school or an institution can decide to subsidize everybody's fees. This happens at the university level, where endowments are set up so that every student admitted to a school gets a scholarship. So if the fee is 60,000, you say this year the student will pay 50,000 because the endowment or the scholarship cut us for a percentage of that. Is that something that you will be applicable here?
Maybe in the future we may reach there, but at the moment we are struggling with real needs. Real needs. because definitely poverty doesn't seem to be going away. It seems to be.
It will always be with us.
Yeah, it will always be with us. And because of the policy of the government now to try and uplift the standards, the academic standards of poor students, most of the students admitted now in the national schools are actually coming from such backgrounds. So you see, our worry was, before, when we had a mixture, we knew that we would be having those who are able and those who are not able. And the ones who are able were, you know, they would make sure that they sustain these ones. But now everybody seems to be more or less at the same level. Nobody can help the other. So our idea is to help the current needy students. We've looked at the future of these students also. We educate them through school. After Form 4, what? If they don't get a bursary to university or a loan or whatever. So in future, we are thinking that maybe it might become the responsibility of the trust committee also to ensure that that person or that child
excels and
completes, and so that they may also be able to give back to society.
Kenya High School, maybe you can answer that, maybe the chairperson, is a big school with big land.
Yes, it is.
In prime Nairobi.
Yes.
Has the board ever thought about looking for permanent solution instead of going to do endowment funds? The school be self-satisfied by doing some business or some development, develop flats or houses in that big land you have, and then that solves a problem forever.
Thank you. Sorry, Chairman. Yeah, what happened so far as a school, we do some little income generating activities. We have we do dairy, we do bakery, we have pigs. So we don't buy milk as a school. We also farm, but the problem with farming is that you know, we don't have water. So during the dry period, whatever we plant disappear, but during the rainy season, we get food. Up to recently, it was very difficult to go into major projects because we were not allowed, for example, to go into to go to the banks and acquire a loan. So you see, putting up something like flat requires heavy investment.
Yeah. We're not allowed by the ministry regulations.
We are not allowed. But recently now, the ministry has come up with this private public partnership.
Yes.
And that is exactly now what the board is doing. We have a plan of putting up a conference facility and hostels, so that we can use this conference facility. We can rent it out to, you know, the public, members of the public. We can use the hostels to rent to visitors, to young ladies who are working and want a good and safe place to stay in. Yes,
like YMCA.
That's what. Yeah, exactly. So that is the first project, but there is a good master plan, you know, we have now. But you see, we have to move step by step, and as we generate money, we will invest. And in future, in the very near future, maybe even any child who is admitted doesn't have to pay fees at all.
You say you started the endowment fund last December.
We launched it in December.
So up to now, so what do you want to do now, since you launched it?
Yeah, so
the roadmap.
Yes, in April we had a walk. We are now having a dinner, and until we reach our target, we will keep on thinking of, you know, other means of getting people together to contribute to
So
this
what is the
particular
target?
plan.
How do you expect to achieve that?
Maybe
the board must answer this, because it must be carrying the children, the school.
Thank
So,
you.
Chair, Mrs. Masese, what is the target and how do you hope to achieve it? I'm sure that is your biggest responsibility as chair.
As Mrs. Saina said, we have all these activities like the hostel, which actually a foundation stone was laid by His Excellency Mwai Kibaki. And as soon as we get money, we hope to raise money from there. We have the agricultural activities which will help raise the funds. We go as little as using the facilities we currently have to rehabilitate them so they can, like the sports facilities.
Yes.
We had very good facilities before, but with time they are worn out and they need to be rehabilitated. After they have been, now we'll have a sports center for activities so we can raise money through that. And we have activities like weddings, like this weekend when students have gone home, we have about 4 weddings. And that's a way of raising money.
Yeah.
We have activities from the old girls of the school. They try and raise money. Especially, I don't know, the older generation seems to raise more money than the young ones. I guess because they are just getting into it. The ones in overseas raise quite a bit of money, although we don't sometimes remember to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And we want to include the active members of old.
Okay, how much money do you target to raise? What is the target?
100 million or plus, yeah.
Within, you've given yourself some time, I'm sure.
Yes, within the next 5 years.
How much have you got so far?
So far, we have 5 million from the initial activity we have done.
Okay.
And
So
today
we
how
are
much
hoping
did you
this year
today-
at least
today-
we can get, for this particular activity.
Have you lined up something you want to do? When?
Today.
Today,
Okay,
tonight.
talk about
tonight.
tonight.
Talk about tonight.
Talk about tonight. Ask for the money.
Yeah.
Tell Kenyans now,
Yes.
right now, what you want done
Yes.
and what are you doing?
Tonight we have a fundraising dinner at the Safari Park Hotel. Our chief guest is the second president of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Daniel Toroitich Moi. We have a number of other guests we have invited, parents, our teachers, and even our students and the alumni. And that's why we really want to appreciate you giving us this opportunity to appeal to the wider Kenyan society. As I said earlier, these children are admitted from all parts of Kenya. We have children from Turkana, we have children from Northeastern, we have children from South Nyanza. We have children even from this Nairobi city, from the slum areas, whom when they even arrive alone, you have to do something about the uniform and about anything before you settle down to discuss other things.
Yes.
We have children who even as we are closing school, they write to say that they are not in a position or they do not have somewhere to go.
Yes.
When school closes, and they would like to be kept in the school, and that requires money
do that?
for their yes.
There are those who can go back home
there are those
either
who can
because
go
you
back
know,
home.
they may never come back or
They-
the
yes,
situation there is
exactly.
not good.
We have children whom we have to send fare every beginning of the term because we open school, the week goes, the second week
You
goes,
don't see them.
and we don't see them, so we have to inquire, and then the child says, yes, I'm at home, there is no transport. So, and these children are coming from everywhere. That's where we are asking all Kenyans to journey with us. And if this endowment project succeeds, so many children will be saved.
Okay,
It is-
let's look at the...
Yeah.
There is a project by Equity Bank called Wings to Fly.
Wings to fly. Yes.
How has Kenya High
benefit?
benefited from that project?
Yes. In fact, I always say this project is what has saved us. Because currently, Equity has 153 girls under their scholarship
At Kenya High.
at Kenya High.
153.
Yes, and they pay their fees, they give them pocket money, they take care of their transport. whatever needs, even the school bag. And they do mentorship program for them. So they have really removed a very heavy load from us. It was a well thought.
It's something worth emulating, I'm sure.
It is really worth,
What about the ones who are finished? Equity Bank normally takes the ones who are finished and they're top, employ them and take them to universities abroad.
Yes, the universities abroad.
Can you tell us about that in your school?
Yes, like we have, every year we benefit. The best girl in Kenya, the year 2012, is, I think she's now at, which university? Yale, yeah.
Yeah.
So, quite a number of them have been supported, and they are, the ones who have gone through equity and have done well, they are settled in most of the good universities abroad. And even those who go to universities here, some get support.
Okay, let's look at, of course, the challenge of many people paying school fees, as you say, from poor families, can't make it, and you need endowment to support that. But there is a general complaint that school fees charged by national schools has been run away. You are being forced to come down all the time. I mean, it was 80,000. The ministry had set, I think, 60,000 or something. Why are you overcharging fees and making our children not come to your schools?
Well, that's a good one, and I think it's a question of a misunderstanding, because what normally happens, fees is not charged for the sake of charging school fees. At the end of every year, the school finance committee, for example, in our case, they would sit down and do a budget. And the budget is purely based on the market prices, if it is food, if it is school equipment, textbooks, and so forth, whatever requirements. And that amount is equally distributed to each parent. There is a challenge in some of the schools, for example, ours. As the chairman mentioned, our school was a European school with beautiful facilities, which most of them we have not been able to maintain. Some we have tried the best of our ability to maintain. We have a swimming pool. We have all kinds of things to take care of. So the money we require for maintenance, considering that these buildings also came up quite in the 1930s, re-roofing, rehabilitations are going on. So parents also factor in something for projects every year. In our school, for example, we have tried to maintain some of the things which happened earlier. For example, we give all the children beddings. They don't have to come with anything. They will find the bed, the mattress, the pillows, the sheets, the blankets, and we even launder for them. It's not that we want to maintain a high kind of life for them, no.
The idea... I think that's where the problem is.
No, I want to explain. That's why I want to explain.
The problem is there.
It's not that we want to do that.
They have to keep that standard.
Not,
so what do they
not
do?
quite, not even quite. What happens is that as we received these children, as I said earlier, they are coming from all kinds of backgrounds. If we say each one of you come with your blanket, the one from my home will come with a duvet, will come with whatever. Uniformity. The one from Turkana doesn't even use a blanket at home.
Yes.
Doesn't even know what it is. So we thought this would show the glaring disparity in the society. It will show clearly who the haves and the have-nots. And this is what we are trying to kill. We want uniformity. When you enter there in that uniform, nobody will tell this is a president's daughter and this is a nobody's daughter. So that was really the idea why we have maintained. Just that.
All right.
And also discipline comes in.
And let me finish with that. When we even worked out figures, it is much cheaper than telling every parent, buy your mattress and carry it all the way to Nairobi, bring this, bring that, bring that, mass supply. What happens? They only pay 2,500 as they end up Form 1 for that.
Yes.
And that is all.
So how much
it is very cheap.
How much is the fee to Kenya High this year, Form 1?
This year, Form 1, the school fees, that is the fees
Everything
alone.
consolidated.
Consolidated, it was about 92. Everything, including projects.
Against the government's ceiling of?
The government ceiling of the year 2008 was what?
No, of this year.
Of
the
thi-
ministry
this
had
year.
Yes.
It's not official yet, but I think it's
Was
about
it 45,000?
No, it was less than that, if I remember. Yeah,
Do you
much
get
less.
No,
Chair.
you know, like
Yes.
now,
Much
take
less.
an item like electricity.
Yes.
Imagine how much electricity Kenya High School pays. Because our the way the layout of our dormitories and classroom
Yeah.
are very far apart,
Mm.
and the way it was set up, you have to use electricity.
Okay.
Like take the kitchen now, which we used to use that,
Yeah.
we have reverted to wood.
Yes.
So we are trying our best to cut these costs.
Yeah.
Yes.
The thing is, let's talk globally now. Do you think the government should set ceilings for school fees?
Yeah.
That is really the philosophical point here. And you as a parent, leading a school where you get children who are coming from these families who can't afford, and now you have to resort to setting up an endowment.
No, I personally think that we have to have some framework on the school fees.
Charge, yes.
Yes, but at the same time, we have to deal with each case individually. Like a school like ours,
Yeah.
there is no way you can charge the same school fees like Kereri girls,
Yes.
which the facilities are very different.
Yes.
Like
So maintaining those high facilities
Yes.
means more money
yes.
for the school, for the parents.
But
Okay.
there are certain things she mentioned here which is
Like-
breaking me. Why would you want to do laundry for girls?
The same thing again. Most of the students we have, what happens, we buy uniform sheets, for example, and we issue to them to use. If we were to allow them, it's only beddings we launder. If we were allow them to clean it themselves, we have these children who don't have soap. We have these children, you know, the girls, when at admission, if you see, you will really be shocked. So we realize that if we let them do the laundering, they will never be laundered. And again, we would land into the same problems that we were trying to
run
avoid.
away from.
When we are laundering in bulk like that,
Yes.
that same 2,000 is enough for us to buy sheets, replace beds, replace
When-
everything, and use it to
Yes,
launder.
when the students leave, they
Yeah.
leave the
They
staff.
leave, yeah.
So
That
that's
is why
you
we
need
need
to maintain-
little money
Yes.
just to replace.
To maintain
yeah,
and
to
keep
maintain.
uniformity within
So
the
you know,
school.
if we were to issue, then they would be destroyed in no time. Yeah.
Let's venture out of Kenya High now and look at education generally and things which are cutting across. Their ministry has been saying we need performance contracts for principals and teachers, and there seems to be a problem. Teachers don't want this. From your perspective as one of them, what is the argument here?
I don't think teachers really reject a performance contract per se, but what the teachers would like to see is that if I am going to be put in contract, then I must understand the terms of that
Yes.
contract, isn't it? So that there is value on both sides, value
Yes.
for money for the employer and also value
Yes.
to the employee. But saying you are just going to sign a performance contract, at the moment teachers are working under very, very difficult conditions. You ask a principal, for example, to sign a performance contract that at the end of this year, this is what I'm going to produce.
Yes.
They have no teachers. We don't have enough teachers.
Yes.
Some are working in backgrounds where parents are not able to pay fees, so they have no textbooks, they have no laboratories, they have, you know, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
How are you going to meet that contract?
Okay.
Yeah, so produce what I need to work in my environment,
Yes.
and I have no problem
Okay.
in
You
agreeing with
would
you.
have no problem signing a performance contract, right? I mean, you have been, your school, you have performed consistently well. Kenya High has, remained, and you've been there for quite a while. Probably you must be one of the, longest serving principals in any school. But you have been, the performance also bears you out, that you have performed well. Would you not, in your circumstances, which are comfortable like this, not say we can do with a performance contract?
And I can assure you, if it was not for the visionary leadership of the board and the support of the parents, that performance would not be there. You know very well that most of the schools, the caliber of Kenya High, former European schools, went down very drastically, particularly when the government started this business of regulating school fees. They were not able to maintain the buildings, they were not able to maintain any facility, and the standards just went down. But in our case, for example, the board has been very cooperative, the parents have been very, very, very cooperative, there has been a lot of teamwork, and we have been able to overcome a lot of things with a lot of, struggle, like what I was saying, people just offering to pay fees, children they don't know, they have never met their parents. So if it wasn't for that, I don't think Kenya High would be performing the way it is. It would also have suffered a setback.
We have been lucky, it's a teamwork. The board and the PTA work very closely together. And Mrs. Saina is a good principal and somebody you can easily get along with. And at the same time, some of the parents and the board members, they give free service. They are not paid. It's voluntary. And the service goes into all those things, including academics, counseling, teaching, all those. And that's how we benefit. And being a principal of a big school like Kenya High, I'm telling you, it's not an easy job. You are the teacher, you are the matron, you are everything. You are the doctor, you are the nurse. It's hard work. It's 24.
So you asked me if I could sign a contract. If I were to sign the contract with my board, I would.
With the board, yes.
Yes, because they know the circumstances and they know what they can provide. But right now with my employer, I can assure you no.
Let me go to another subject of this similar, the motivation of teachers. A lot of schools, when they perform well, they say we want to gift to teachers. Some of them take them to Dubai, they take them to Tanzania, wherever. That spending money from, I think the PTA and the board are the ones who decide that. I don't know how you do in your situation. The other subject is a procurement. When it comes to doing whatever project you do, how transparent is it?
Very transparent.
Do the first question first about motivation of teachers.
Motivation of teachers, it doesn't have to go on a trip. You motivate the teachers from the time they are in class. Even just appreciating them, it takes them a lot.
Verbal?
Yes.
Not monetary?
Well, verbal starts with verbal.
Yes.
Because when you relate to the teacher, you go to their same level, you understand what they are going through, and you do provide, and what you cannot provide, you tell them why and why not. So that actually you find you are walking on the same page.
Yeah.
Yes, it starts from there. And then as we go along, then you can discuss and find out what can we do to motivate you. Yeah. Like now, the teachers who do very well in their subjects, you can look for something to help them.
So what do you do? What do you give them?
Principal, what do you do?
Yeah. In our case, for example, as she has said, we've come a very long way. I remember when we started performing, the parents then, they said, these teachers should have lunch, and we were very happy to have lunch.
Good.
Very happy to have lunch.
Yeah.
Then as we went on, there was a time we were taken to a very good dinner at, it was called what, Grand Regency that time. I mean, some of us, we are teachers. When do we go and sit and have a meal in Grand Regency? So that was, and we found that was really exciting. And the board has kept on encouraging us. Sometimes we are just written certificates and she signs and we all get a certificate and we are very excited. We've also been taken to educational trips occasionally when the funds are available. We have been taken out, and the idea of the board for these trips was mainly for exposure for the teacher, because we felt that we are handling children and we are training these children to be leaders and to have a global outlook. The geography teacher should not just be teaching and talking of some places she has never been to.
So you went to Israel or someplace?
History.
Yes. But okay,
Sorry.
Let me just in a nutshell, perhaps, which is in answering as you answer that question. In fact, somebody watching in other principals or other schools or parents, what is the secret that makes you know, what are the things that make you Kenya High consistently post high results? Of course, you get the best students from class 8, because the top ones are the ones who go to your schools. But there must be something more that you do that others can borrow in terms of best practices.
I think, first of all, is continuity and stability. They are very key. Since the inception of Kenya High School has been very lucky. We have had 8 board members.
8 board members?
Yes. Chairman.
Yes.
Yes.
Since the beginning of the school?
Since when it became public, we have had, I think, about 4.
That's when?
Since 1968.
Since 68,
Mr. The Honorable Charles Njonjo, then Dr. Eda Gachukia, then Miss Margaret Kenyatta, then Mrs. Ayodo, then myself.
Wow. You belong to a very small class.
Then the principals are equally the same. We had Miss Todd, who was in the school for 30 years. Then we had other in between, but Mrs. Wanjoy being the first principal, she was in the school for 21 years. 23, and she's the current principal of Sare Girls. And Mrs. Saina was working under Mrs. Wanjoy for 9 years, I think. Mrs. Saina, 8 years. So she started Mrs. Wanjoy, continuity, and now Mrs. Saina. Mrs. Saina has been in the school for...
This is my 15th year.
15th years principal.
Yes. So the culture and tradition,
but
discipline...
that is not what happens in other schools. Other schools get their principals transferred so often, frequently. Is it, do you resist the TSC transfers, or this a negotiated deal with the TSC that the board has?
No, but a TSC cannot just take a teacher without asking the board. And Mrs. Saina is a good performer. Why would you want to lose
her to take her good performance to Kadiri Girls. Yes, to Kadiri Rutunga. So we spread the good things.
Well, I think as far as being selfish, continuity is a very good thing.
Okay, I think it's a good thing. That's one of the reasons. Any other thing you think works for Kenya High that other schools perhaps are not doing or ought to do?
Well, we, apart from that, what we do is just hard work. A lot of commitment and a lot of dedication and teamwork from all staff, not only the teachers, everybody. Everybody contributes.
Private business running kiosk here and there?
No, strangely enough, our teachers retire in Kenya High.
Or in the school a boot camp where children are just being, education is being pumped into their heads.
No.
That is
tuition
another thing
and-
about
yes.
Kenya High. Kenya High is a place where a child gets proper exposure to everything. We do sports, we do drama, we do music, we have international exchange programs. We allow them to participate in essay competitions. Our children
Okay.
have traveled everywhere.
All right.
They
What
have
is your student
gone to
population?
We are now 1,200.
Last year you sat how many in the KCSE?
Last year we had 207, yeah, I think.
And you were number?
We were in position 10 nationally.
How many went to university or qualified?
Qualify, except for 2. There are only 2 who cannot go
2?
to university here.
Which means they go to what?
They can go
C-,
to C. We had a C- and a D.
The rest
The rest
are
in
going
university
on to
material.
university
Yeah.
material.
Some years we get 100% to university. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good one. We're coming to the end of our discussion, but we will not conclude without reference to what I asked you earlier on, the school government waiving fees. First, allowing, ordering schools to release the certificates that are held. Is your school affected? How much?
Yeah, I think every school is affected with this one. And I don't know, the government must have good reasons to do that. But I wish there was a situation of actually finding out who is needy, who is poor. Because right now we have certificates, but it doesn't mean that those people cannot pay. They simply have better use for their money. Yeah, like a parent would come and say, Mwalimu, I'm not paying fees right now. Either my son is going abroad or going to university or going this. So this one is not important, you can wait. That kind of attitude.
Okay.
Definitely, like in our case, we know the poor students because we have grown, with them from Form 1.
Yes.
Definitely, I would not
So
retain
should
a
have done the
certificate
list
for
of
such
needy
a
ones.
such a person. So they have gone, the money is still pending. But the ones whom I know they can pay,
Yes.
sincerely, it would not be fair to any other Kenyan for such people to enjoy such a privilege. Some Kenyans, because they know education is really key and important, some people sell land to educate their child. Are we going to refund those ones who sold their land, so their cows? Because others want to have it easy and free. For sure, the needy, they should be supported. In fact, actually, the government should make sure they get bursaries and their fees be cleared.
Okay.
But for not a blanket for everybody.
Okay, moving on. Next year, the government is promising to waive school fees by 2015. No school fees in high school and primary school. Isn't that a good thing? Will make your efforts, this endowment, only complementary?
It will be a very, very excellent idea if it happens. Right now, we get a certain percentage of money from the government, and sometimes it's really difficult. We've been waiting. We just got recently the quota we were expecting at the beginning of the term.
The government subsidy.
Yes. So if the government will waive, and as long as we get the money and get it in good time, it will really, really solve our problems.
Okay.
And that is as it should be. A government should educate its children.
All right, we have come to the end, but just some compliments. Somebody says, well done, you're a great example, you're doing a great job. Mrs. Zaina, my history teacher and class teacher in Moi Girls, many, many years ago. She was mature, focused, lovely, as she is even now. Let her know that Jen Wanjiku in Nakuru. As a compliment to you.
My God.
Somebody else says, well done, Mrs. Zaina, we are coming for dinner.
Wow.
This is Julius Akeyo. He's a parent.
Thank you.
So at Safari Park this evening, you can also participate in that.
Thank you.
And but somebody says, I may not make it to the dinner, but we would like to support the initiative. It's a great one. Do you have a pay bill number they can pay in?
We have a pay bill number.
You haven't thought of that?
We
one?
have the account number.
I would need to refer before we finish this. We have,
okay.
we
And,
have a pay
unfortunately,
bill.
our time is up. But, somebody, you can give us a number. They can call you.
I will,
so that I'm sure People will
Yes,
not call you to
yeah.
hustle you.
No.
Call you only to contribute.
Yes,
Yes.
I
Which
can
is,
give you my number.
Which is
Oh.
07
721
0721
21 5855.
0721
21
5855.
5855. Yeah.
So you can get in touch with the principal, Rosemary Saina of Kenya High. They're having a dinner this evening
Tonight, yeah.
at Safari Park Hotel, presided over by the guest of honor. Rather, is going to be the former president Daniel Arap Moi, who, as I know, has supported this and other schools and is attending that dinner tonight. You can participate and help the school to establish the endowment fund for needy children in that school. Thank you so much for coming. We had the principal of the Kenya High School, Rosemary Saina, and the chair of the board, Rebecca Masese. Asanteni for coming.
Thank you for having us.
And
Yeah.
wish you the best this
Thank
evening for your dinner.
Thank you for hosting us
All
and
right.
for your support.
That is the Power Breakfast. Continue watching. We are here.